Hello there, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Really glad you could join us today.
Great to be here.
So this deep dive is made by our YouTube channel, The Psychology Hour. And yeah, we'd be absolutely thrilled if you like and subscribe.
Definitely helps us out.
Today, we're really diving into something huge, something that impacts, well, pretty much everything in your life, whether you notice it or not.
That you're talking about mindset.
Exactly. Your mindset, how your mind is constantly working, and maybe, just maybe, it's working against you without you even realizing.
And the key thing is how you can flip that around. Like, have you ever decided you want a specific kind of car?
Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly, bam, you see that car everywhere.
All the time. Or like a word you just learned.
Right. It pops up constantly. Feels a bit weird, maybe, but there's actually a reason, like a filter in your brain that does that automatically.
Yes. And that filter, understanding it, is so important because it's tied directly to your mindset. So our mission today, looking at the materials, is to really explore that connection, figure out how that filter actually works, and crucially, find some, simple but really powerful ways to train your mind so it starts working for you.
Absolutely. And you should definitely stick with us right to the end because we're going to unpack exactly how that brain filter decides what you notice.
Okay.
We've got this really simple exercise that actually proves, like undeniable proof, you can change that filter right now.
Wow. Okay.
And a really strong technique to help shift your thinking from that nagging, what if it all goes wrong, to a much more empowering, okay, but what if it works out?
Love that. Okay, let's dig into this. Mindset.
Yeah.
We hear that word all the time, but what are we really talking about, like fundamentally?
Well, think of it like your brain's operating system.
Yeah.
It's basically the sum of all your beliefs, your assumptions, your opinions.
About everything.
Pretty much. About yourself, about other people, about just how the world works. It's the lens you see everything through.
Ah, okay, so that connects to that metaphor I saw, the sunglasses one.
Yep. Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. If you put on, say, dark gray sunglasses, everything looks kind of dull, maybe a bit gloomy, right? That's like a pessimistic mindset filtering your view. But then you switch to, I don't know, rose-tinted glasses.
And things look brighter?
Yeah, more inviting, maybe. Your mindset isn't just passively seeing the world, it's actively coloring how you perceive it. It really shapes how you see potential, how you react to stuff, how you feel about the past, how you handle now, and even what you imagine for the future.
And you really see that contrast, don't you? The examples in the material were striking, like the person who's super pessimistic. Even at a beautiful wedding, they find the one tiny thing that's wrong. Or they're on a great vacation, but they're hung up on some minor hassle.
Right. It's like their filter is just set to problem detection mode. Or, spotting flaws or things that aren't quite perfect. It's not always conscious, but that's where their mindset directs their attention.
Compared to, say, that colleague example. The one who handles a tough situation at work, maybe a rude customer or a crazy deadline.
Yeah.
They don't pretend it's great, but they kind of give the benefit of the doubt, assume people mean well, or just focus on, okay, how do we fix this?
Exactly. They're wired to see potential solutions, possibilities, where the other person just sees roadblocks.
And that seems to be where the real impact lies. It's not just thoughts and feelings.
No, not at all. It directly influences the actions you take. Or maybe even more importantly, the actions you don't take.
So it's not just about, like, trying to feel happy all the time.
Oh, definitely not. This isn't about slapping on a fake smile or that sort of toxic positivity ideal. Let's be clear. Mindset doesn't magically erase real problems.
Right. Discrimination, illness, financial struggles.
Yeah.
Those are real.
Absolutely real. What a, let's say, trained or more helpful mindset does is give you the internal tools, the perspective to actually face those things, to cope better, to look for solutions, or just to navigate through tough times more effectively.
And that link to action is so critical.
Yeah.
I mean, the example of hating your job. If your mindset is just, I'm stuck, nothing will change.
Then you won't even look for another job. You won't update your resume. You won't network. Your mindset literally blocks the action needed for change.
Or wanting to start something new, a project maybe, but you're just focused on all the ways it could fail or why you're not good enough.
You won't even start. That negative lens just freezes you. On the other hand, a mindset that allows for even a little bit of hope, like, maybe I could figure this out.
Yeah.
That's what sparks action, that first tiny step. And honestly, without action, problems just sit there. Dreams stay dreams, healing doesn't happen. Changing your mindset doesn't remove the challenge, but it fundamentally changes your ability to tackle it.
Okay, so the really hopeful part here is that our minds aren't fixed. They're flexible.
Incredibly flexible. And that leads us right to that powerful filter we mentioned earlier, the reticular activating system, the
Okay.
RAS.
The RAS, right. The brain's bouncer. Was that the analogy?
That's a great one from the sources, yeah. Imagine your brain is like this exclusive nightclub, and there's this massive flood of sensory info trying to get in every second. Sights, sounds, smells, feelings, thoughts, just overwhelming amounts.
Okay.
The RAS stands at the door like a bouncer, deciding what gets past the velvet rope and into your actual conscious awareness. Its job is basically to stop you from being totally overloaded by filtering out all the background noise.
So it's constantly choosing what we actually pay attention to.
Constantly, in real time, deciding what gets promoted from the subconscious background, hum into your focused attention.
And that explains the thing with the car, or the hairstyle, or whatever you suddenly start noticing everywhere.
That is exactly the RAS in action. When you start thinking about that specific car, maybe researching it, you're basically telling your RAS, hey, pay attention to this. This is important now. So the bouncer suddenly starts letting every single instance of that car through the door. They were always there, driving past you, parked down the street.
But you just didn't see them.
Your RAS filtered them out because they weren't tagged as important based on your focus. They stayed outside the club, so to speak.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's not just coincidence. Your brain is literally showing you different things.
It really is. And here's the absolute key point. The RAS decides what's important based on what you tell it is important through your focus.
Which brings it right back to mindset again.
Exactly. How does it know what you care about? It learns. It pays attention to where you consistently put your time, your mental energy, your thoughts, your focus. So if you spend all day worrying, dwelling on self-doubt, replaying mistakes.
Like that person worried about the boss's email, or just general self-doubt.
Yeah. If that's your constant internal soundtrack, your RAS learns, okay, self-doubt and potential problems are clearly top priority for this person.
Oh, well.
And so it starts filtering your reality to find more evidence to confirm that doubt. It'll zoom in on that one tiny slip-up you made and completely ignore the, 30 things you did perfectly fine. It's confirming the bias you're feeding it.
So the pessimistic friend, their mindset is actually programming their filter to find the negative stuff.
In essence, yes. Their habitual focus on what's wrong trains their RAS to highlight exactly those things, the slightly annoying relative, the delay at lunch while filtering out the sunshine, the laughter, the good stuff that's also there. It's not that the good stuff vanishes. Their brain just isn't letting it into conscious awareness as easily.
Wow. And this just happens automatically, like we're not consciously doing it.
Most of the time, no. Your brain isn't trying to be mean. It's just being efficient. It sees where you're investing your mental energy, and it optimizes the filter to show you more of that. Think about how negative news grabs our attention, right? That intensity helps program the RAS to keep scanning for threats.
Okay, but the big opportunity then is we can actually direct this process consciously.
That's the exciting part. Because the RAS is flexible, because it learns from your focus, you have this incredible power to intentionally reprogram it. You can change the guest list for that bouncer. You can literally tell your brain, hey, show me this instead.
Okay, now we're getting to the really practical stuff. How do we actually do that? How do we train the filter, reset the mindset?
So based on the material, there are some fantastic, really powerful techniques. And they're simpler than you might think. The first one, well, it might sound a bit quirky at first.
Okay.
But trust me, it's directly about playing with this RAS system. It's the looking for hearts exercise.
Yeah, I saw that. Looking for heart shapes.
That's the one. So the actual practice is simple. Every day, you make a conscious decision, an intention, to actively look for heart shapes that occur naturally, not like greeting cards or candy.
Right, like in clouds. Or coffee foam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clouds, coffee, spilled paint, cracks in the sidewalk, patterns on leaves, rocks, rust stains. Anywhere a shape might naturally resemble a heart.
Okay, but why hearts? What's the mechanism here?
The why is crucial. This isn't just about finding cute shapes. It's a direct physical way to prove to yourself, undeniably, that you can intentionally direct your brain's filter. You're giving your RAS a very specific, new instruction. This shape, it's important now, find it for me.
And then what? When you see one?
When you spot one, the key is to pause. Just stop for a moment, really look at it, take it in, savor that little moment of discovery, maybe snap a photo if you want a reminder.
Okay.
And then this part's important. You consciously, explicitly thank your mind. Say to yourself, wow, my brain just showed me that. I asked it to look and it found one. It literally just changed its filter to help me.
So it's less about the heart itself and more about the proof that your brain responded to your instruction.
Precisely. The heart is the tangible evidence. It proves your brain is flexible, it does listen to your intentional focus, and it can be reprogrammed by you. For anyone feeling stuck in negativity, thinking their mind is just inherently negative, finding that heart is physical proof that no, change is possible. Your mind can help you in new ways. And you'll find the more you look, the more you see. It reinforces itself.
That really connects to that point about maybe being afraid to hope or afraid things could get better.
Yeah.
This makes it feel more scientific, less like wishful thinking.
Exactly. It grounds it. It shows you're not just hoping, you're actively working with your brain's mechanics. The way you've been seeing things isn't permanent. It's likely just old programming, and you've got the power to update it.
Okay, that's powerful. What's the next technique?
So this one tackles that negative self-talk directly, what the source is called the internal campaign of misery. Psychologists sometimes call this kind of thing cognitive bias modification.
Yeah.
But we can think of it more simply as a substitution diet for your thoughts.
A substitution diet.
Oh, yeah.
Like for thoughts like, I'm not good enough or this will never work.
Exactly those. Those kinds of default negative thoughts. Often, they aren't even your true voice. They're learned patterns, maybe from way back, maybe from tough times in school trying to fit in. Our brains develop these protective but ultimately limiting scripts. And through repetition, they become automatic. They become the default filter setting.
So the technique starts with catching that thought when it pops up.
You catch it. You notice it arising. Oh, there's that this is going to fail thought again, or I can't handle this. And then you intentionally, consciously introduce a specific substitution. Instead of letting your mind spiral down the what if it goes wrong rabbit hole, you actively pivot. You ask yourself with genuine curiosity, okay, but what if it works out?
What if it works out? Just asking that. Yeah, it feels completely different in my head already.
It is completely different.
Right.
And it fundamentally changes what your RAS starts looking for. See, what if it goes wrong? Trains your RAS to scan for danger, obstacles, problems, all the reasons not to do something. It fuels anxiety, it leads to inaction.
Right.
But asking, what if it works out? That trains your RAS to look for possibilities, opportunities, resources, solutions, reasons to take action. It directs your filter towards finding paths forward, motivating you to actually do the thing. Apply for that program, have that conversation, start that healthy habit.
So you're shifting the filter from problem finding to solution finding.
You got it. You're actively choosing a more empowering focus. And when you practice that substitution repeatedly over time, that new focus starts to reprogram your RAS.
Yeah.
It starts to automatically highlight possibilities you literally weren't seeing before.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the third tip was about our environment, what we let in.
Yeah, think about your social media feed, like the Explore page or whatever. The algorithm learns super fast what you click on, right? What you watch, what you like.
And then it just shows you more and more of that stuff.
Exactly. It's a perfect external example of filter responding directly to your input.
And our brain's internal filter, the RAS, works in a similar way with the information we consume.
Very similar. The stuff you feed your brain, the news you read, the accounts you follow online, the TV shows you binge, and maybe most importantly, the conversations you participate in, the people you spend your time with. All of that is input. And that input is constantly programming your RAS. It's teaching it what's important.
So if I'm constantly looking at, say, fitness models with impossible bodies,
your RAS gets programmed to notice every way you don't measure up to that specific, often unrealistic standard. It filters your reality through that lens, impacting your self-image, your confidence.
Okay, so the tip is to be much more conscious about that input stream.
Be really intentional. Be disciplined even. Take it seriously. What accounts do you follow? What news sources do you trust? Who do you allow to influence your thinking? This input isn't just background noise. It is actively shaping your brain's filter, which shapes your perception, which shapes your mindset. Choose input that actually aligns with the mindset you want to cultivate. Choose things that build you up.
This all definitely sounds like it needs ongoing effort. It's not like a switch you flip once.
Oh, absolutely. It's a practice.
Yeah.
Changing deeply ingrained mindset patterns and reprogramming that RAS filter, that's a continuous process. The old defaults, the negative loops, the fear, they will try to creep back in, especially during stressful times.
So it's like a daily vigilance, catching yourself.
You could call it that, or maybe think of it as active engagement with your own mind, like hand-to-hand combat sometimes. You notice the old thought, you challenge it, you consciously redirect your focus, you choose to look for the hearts, you ask what if it works out. You learn not to get hooked by every negative thought your brain throws out.
You're not stuck with those thoughts.
You are absolutely not stuck with them. You can learn to manage them, to choose different ones, to reprogram the filter.
And it genuinely works. People can actually change this.
They really can. The evidence is there. Your brain is literally designed for neuroplasticity, for change. It just needs your conscious guidance.
Okay, so let's quickly summarize this deep dive then. Your mindset is like this powerful lens, this filter.
Yeah, coloring how you see everything and driving what you do or don't do.
And this filter, the reticular activating system, or RAS, it learns what to show you based on where you consistently put your focus, your thoughts, your energy.
But the amazing news is it's programmable. You can intentionally train it.
Using really simple but powerful tools, like consciously looking for those heart shapes to prove your brain's flexibility.
Proving it to yourself.
And deliberately substituting thoughts like, what if it goes wrong? With that much more expansive question, what if it works out?
Exactly. Changing the question changes what your brain looks for.
And finally, being really mindful, really intentional about the information and the people you allow into your life, because that input shapes your filter too.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about those really deep-seated negative beliefs or voices you might struggle with. Where did they actually come from? Are they truly your voice, your truth? Or are they maybe echoes from the past, old programming you picked up somewhere? And can you, starting today, consciously choose to write a different story, to set a different filter for your own life?
That's a powerful question. We really hope you try these tips, maybe especially the heart-finding one. Just as an experiment, see how your brain responds when you give it a new, positive instruction.
See the proof for yourself. Your mind wants to work with you.
It really does. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this deep dive. We really appreciate you listening. And hey, we're always glad if you like and subscribe.
It makes a difference.
This deep dive was brought to you by our YouTube channel, The Psychology Hour.
And just a reminder, this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.